What up, everyone? We're live, back in action. Power 32 podcast coming through at you, ready to go. You know what it's all about? NFL mock draft time, or NFL draft time, just a week from today, Thursday night. Let's go. Here we go. I can't wait for it. My Niners drafting late at 31. Why? Because we're awesome. We're the NFC champs, and that's the way it is. So we're going to get a later draft pick unless they do something sneaky and move on up. Moving on up, baby. I don't know if they're going to do that, but we'll see what the Niners do. But I got a mock draft for you. We're going to go through it. I can't wait to see the comments later on, what you guys think, especially about your team. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to get into it. But the way it's going to go for the most part, I'm going to stick to the draft. I know there's going to be a ton of trades at 4, 5, maybe 6 trades even. Not just at the top, but teams coming in at the back end of the draft around 22, somewhere 26, trying to pick up that player, perhaps one of these quarterbacks. And quarterbacks are definitely the talk of the town when it comes to Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels, Drake May. Now, Bo Nix being in the conversation, guys like that, Michael Penix Jr., of course, and J.J. McCarthy, So there's a lot of dudes out there, and they think it's a really good quarterback draft, but I just urge you to remember 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, when Trey Lance and Justin Fields and Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and whoever the hell I'm forgetting right now, Mac Jones. I mean, hell, Mac Jones, I got traded for a 6th-round pick to go to the Jaguars. Justin Fields is now traded to Pittsburgh to be a backup to Russell Wilson. Zach Wilson, I don't know. I mean, what can you even say about this kid? Just shame. Unfortunate for him. No good. And Trey Lance got traded to Dallas from the 49ers. I mean, look at all that's happened. Trevor Lawrence is the only guy with this team. I mean, it's really amazing with Jacksonville. So, look, we can think it's a great quarterback draft all we want, and we know they're going to go high. And where they go remains to be seen and what trades are going to be made. But it's obvious that if even 4, 5, or 6 quarterbacks are drafted in the first round, they're not all going to hit. We know that. But let's start with the guy who think that a lot of people are going to hit at number 1. The Bears are, they're going to probably take Caleb Williams. That's who I would take. He seems to have the most upside. He's compared to Patrick Mahomes, which is unbelievable praise. I mean, what do you get more than that? So the Bears take Caleb Williams at number 1 quarterback at USC. The Commanders is second. Now, a lot of people are saying Drake May. A lot of people are saying Jayden Daniels. Nobody's really talking about McCarthy or any of these other guys in that position. So it's between the two of them. And I think, because I'm going to admit right now, I'm not a big college football guy. All right. And, I watch some games. I watch some tape. I listen, I read, whatever it is. It seems that Jayden Daniels got more of the upside. Maybe Drake May is more polished right now. I don't know. But Jayden Daniels has got the goods. And the fact that he can run makes it much better, because in today's NFL, you got to be able to, you don't have to be such a running quarterback, but scrambling and being able to make something happen outside of the pocket is a big thing. And it looks like Jayden Daniels has more of an upside to do something like that rather than Drake May, who should be going 3rd, but not to the Patriots, who drafted 3. Look, the Patriots could take a quarterback here, but they admit already that they need more than that. So there's a good chance that a team like Minnesota is going to jump up to 3 and offer their first 2-round picks that they got this year, okay? And maybe even more than that, maybe next year or second. Who knows what it's going to be. But I think Minnesota has been trying to position themselves this whole time to get one of these top 3 quarterbacks, and it looks like that guy's probably going to be Drake May, the way that I see it right now. So I'm going to say that Drake May goes 3rd. Not necessarily to the Patriots, but to Minnesota, who I think will jump up right there. All right. I don't want to get into too many trades right now, but that's what I think what will happen. They're a good team. Look, Minnesota, they may have work to do on defense, but offensively, when you talk about Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and now Aaron Jones is added now into that backfield. Putting a quarterback in there, you got a lot of good things happening. They got a pretty decent offensive line. Darisaw, a guy that doesn't get mentioned a lot, but he's a really good player. So maybe look for Minnesota to jump up there and New England to trade back and acquire more picks, because we know they're not going anywhere right now. And again, no guarantee on these quarterbacks, guys. We got to remember that. But I got May now going number 3. Could be the Patriots, but I'm thinking that Minnesota jumps up. So number 4, you got the Cardinals. Why not go after maybe the best player in the draft. It could be Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy is polished. He's ready to go. He's like a pro. He takes after his dad in a lot of ways, and he could even be a better receiver than his father, which is extremely high praises. He is a Hall of Famer. The Cardinals, another team who could trade back, but if they stay put at number 4, I see him taking Marvin Harrison. The Chargers, now they lost 2 of their wide receivers. They draft number 5. They lost Keenan Williams. They lost Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. All right. Mike Williams went to the Jets. Keenan Allen over with the Chicago Bears, who should help out Caleb Williams a lot. Now, Keenan Allen over there, they got no wide receivers. They got to take one. And Malik Nabers is being talked about as maybe even better than Marvin Harrison Jr., which I didn't hear much about, before the season started or even during the season. But, this kid's pretty damn good at LSU. Jaden Daniels had the privilege of throwing him the ball. I heard an interview that Jaden Daniels had, and he was just praising Malik Nabers up and down, left and right, all over the place. So I think that he will go to the Chargers, and the Chargers desperately need a wide receiver right now for Justin Herbert. So now you got the Giants at 6. I'm not sold on them taking a quarterback. I'm really, really not. I mean, I had them slotted taking J.J. McCarthy there because things seem to fit that way and being talked about, but I don't know so much now. I think that they got a lot more work to do. So I don't know. Maybe they do go offensive line. Maybe they go defensive line. Maybe they go secondary, maybe a little bit too early for a secondary guy. Or maybe they even go with Rome Odunze from Washington, who Michael Penix Jr. threw the ball to and had a lot of fun doing that. He's talked about even in the class with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Nabers. So maybe the Giants go that route as opposed to going J.J. McCarthy. So I'm kind of changing my draft here on the fly, to be honest with you. Now at number 7 with the Titans, they have plenty of work to do. And I think that they need a pass rusher big time right now. That's something you have to have no matter what division you're in with, no matter what quarterbacks. And now they got C.J. Stroud to deal with. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence and now Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. You got to get a guy to go after him. That guy, I think, is Dallas Turner out of Alabama. Hey, what's up, Kenny, 49er Culp? It's good to see you, my brother. Yeah, we're doing a mock draft over here. I'd love to hear your thoughts as we go along. Our 49ers on draft till 31, and I like that because we're an awesome team, my friend. That's the way it goes. So I'm kind of doing my little mock draft here on the fly. The Titans taking defensive end Dallas Turner out of Alabama. The Falcons are number 8. They would love to have that guy, but they're building more for the future now. Even though they have Kirk Cousins, they're trying to put themselves in a win-now mode. I think they would be smart to take the offensive lineman here in Joe Alt so they can block with Bijan Robinson and Algier and, be able to throw the ball a little bit more now. Hopefully that you can see Kyle Pitts come out and do his thing and Drake London do his thing. So maybe the Falcons go offensive line. Now the Bears come back around at number 9. I think they go offensive lineman too. Which one is the best guy on the board? I don't know 100% which one is the best dude on the board. Yeah, Kenny, let's go for 49er championship this year. I got to mention this to you. I'll get around to it if you're going to be hanging around. But your thoughts on our boy over here, our quarterback, and of course his name's like freaking me out right now, Brock Purdy. Couldn't even get it out of my mind. Been talking with a lot of people about him. Some people are high on him. Some people are like, no, he's not the guy to take you over. I'm somewhere stuck in the middle on that, Kenny. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that as we go along over here. So now I said the Bears are coming back around. I think they go offensive line because you got to protect your new asset in Caleb Williams. So maybe the best guy left on the board is Oregon State's offensive tackle, Talais Fuaga. Hey, again, I don't know what I'm talking about as much when it comes to the names, but I know what positions are needed, and the Bears would do well to do there. The Jets now at number 10, there's been a lot of talk. What should they do? Should they impress their offensive line, get that thing going a little bit more, even though they took Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses over in the offseason? So they're in win now mode because they have Aaron freaking Rodgers. And it's not like, let's build for the future over here. Let's go win a championship this year. And you know what? They can put themselves in position. Miami, I think, is going to slip a little bit. Buffalo, I think, is going to slip a little bit. So why not go for that kid who you can plug in and play right away? Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. Go take him. The Jets, but they just got Mike Williams. Of course, you got Garrett Wilson. You add Brock Bowers in the mix with Breece Hall at running back. That could be a really lethal offense right there, guys. So I think the Jets will take Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. Now we come back to the Vikings, who would have that pick, but I'm giving it now to the Patriots. And if Rome Odunze is on the board, you got to take that kid right there. That is the guy you take. I mean, there's been plenty of great talk about him and what he's capable of doing. Again, talked about with Marvin Harrison and also Neighbors. So I think that at number 11, Odunze goes. And it won't be to the Vikings because I do have a trade going on over there with the Patriots, and that'll be a nice draft pick for them. Now, the Broncos go at 12. This is kind of tricky because I got Bo Nix going there because I'm hearing a lot of connections and a lot of things that Sean Payton likes about the kid, but it may be too high a draft pick. So do they move back in the draft, Denver, potentially? I don't know. I don't know if they want Nix at that spot. I don't know if they want J.J. McCarthy at that spot, but they do need a quarterback. So you know what? Maybe you do roll the dice and take one. I don't know. I like to hear what you guys think, whether it's now, obviously, after when you're going to mostly hear it on the podcast, obviously. But I would like to hear you guys' thoughts on that, on what that particular situation, what you think the Broncos should do, is they desperately need a quarterback. They have a lot of good other pieces. Yeah, they can go after a wide receiver too. They got a pretty stout defense, but they need a quarterback. So maybe they reach and take Bo Nix. Now, the Raiders need a quarterback, but I think they're going to stick with what they got for now in Gardner Minshew. Why? I don't know. And Aiden O'Connell to back them up. I don't think the Raiders go quarterback here, guys. I think they take Terrion Arnold, also out of Alabama, cornerback, D-back. This guy here is a really solid freaking player. He's compared to even his teammate Kool-Aid over there. So there's a lot of other guys that are in the mix, but I'm thinking that he's the one who's going to go. But I think the Raiders are going to take a D-back more than anything. So regardless of who it is, I think that's who it's going to be. So let's move on to number 14. We've got the Saints. They got to start fixing up their secondary because they've got old and they got hurt real fast. And I'm hearing good things about this kid, Cooper DeJean, out of Iowa, of all places. All right, I thought that was only for tight ends, but apparently not. It's for cornerbacks too. So Cooper DeJean, I think, is going to go number 14 to the Saints. They got to start getting that secondary back in order and that defense back to where it was. And Dennis Allen, the way he liked things the way they used to be. The Colts, they need quite a few things. I think they can go cornerback here also. They need to help their secondary out a little bit, especially with now C.J. Stroud there. Really, he's been tearing it up. And those wide receivers too. Man, they're good. These guys are no joke. And now with the addition of Stephon Diggs, yeah, you're going to need some cornerbacks to hold this thing down over here. So I think that's maybe the route that they go over there. The Colts maybe taking a cornerback in this position, or maybe going after Chop Robinson, defensive end. DeForest Buckner just got some more money. Maybe they put Chop Robinson next to him, D-end, and go ahead and get that quarterback, because that's another way to do it, whether it's covering the wide receivers or going after the cornerback. But I think that the Colts go defense. Now, the Seahawks are an interesting team right here. I hear Michael Penix connected to them a lot. Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. Does he go here? I don't think so. It may be too early. The Seahawks need to do a few things. I think they need to get better on defense. As we saw last year, they ended up in quite a few high-scoring games. Maybe go with the kid out of UCLA, Latu. And again, I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing the name, so I'm not good at this stuff, guys. Again, I don't watch as much college football, but I'm going more position in need over here. So I think that they would go defensive line over there with Latu out of UCLA, which brings us to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who turned out to be a disappointment this year. You need to protect Trevor Lawrence. You got to do it. Penn State kid, Fashanu. Okay, I'm not even going to try his first name. No, okay, I'll try it. Screw it. Alamuyiwa. I can't, man, shoot. I'm sorry. I don't mean disrespect, man. I'm terrible at the names. All right, but Fashanu, offensive tackle out of Penn State, going to the Jaguars. Got to beef up that offensive line. You got to protect Trevor Lawrence if he's going to be a quarterback for another 10 years. We go to the Bengals at number 18. What do they do? Speaking about protecting your quarterback, hello, Joe Burrow. You can't keep having this guy getting hurt. He is too important. He is one of the best players in the league, probably second best quarterback in my opinion. You got to protect this guy. Get the best offensive lineman available. Maybe they get lucky with another Alabama kid, J.C. Latham. But look for them to go offensive line right there. Protect Joe Burrow. that brings us to the Rams. The teams played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Now the Rams drafted at 19. I think they're looking better now. I hate to say it as a 49er fan, Kenny, but I think the Rams might be a little dangerous. They got a lot of offensive weapons, which means you got to go defense and you got to get a cornerback. And cornerback, again, is becoming more of a premium position in this league by the minute. You need the D end, you need the cornerback. This kid, Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo, I'm hearing good things. He may go that high. So cornerback, okay, for the Los Angeles Rams, I think will do them well. They need to concentrate on the defense, maybe even go defensive line now that Aaron Donald is no longer on the team, no longer in football for that matter. Can't believe the guy retired, but you know what? One of the best ever. He'll be a Hall of Famer in 5 years. Maybe you try to replace him or you try to replace Jalen Ramsey from, a couple of years ago now with Mitchell. The Steelers draft at number 20. They got their quarterbacks, too, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, so they don't need that. What do they need? Maybe another guy to throw the ball to. With now that Deontay Johnson out of town, go wait for this Brian Thomas Jr. kid out of LSU. He was another one who stood out next to Malik Neighbors. So you know what? Go for it. Hearing good things about Brian Thomas Jr. going to the Steelers, and he can play aside George Pickens with their new quarterback now and see how that all works out. Hoping you guys are enjoying the mock draft so far, as we are now more than halfway through it. All right. And I'm really looking forward to the comments later on. That's when most of the action comes from you guys. And I like to get back and forth. It's a lot of fun. I want to hear about your team. And if your team is the Dolphins, your team is in a bit of trouble, man. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, they've taken a step back. Losing Christian Wilkins was a big deal. I mean, he was the main part of that defense. So what do? Try to replace him. Byron Murphy, the second out of Texas. Byron Murphy, the second defensive tackle out of Texas. Try to replace Christian Wilkins. And now, can you replace him right away like that? No. But if this kid's got the potential, or they think that another kid has got the potential at that position, then you go for it. Coming to the Philadelphia Eagles, so I think, guys, they're going to come right back to the pack where they were a couple of years ago and show that they are for real, yo. So watch out. Philly's coming back this year. I hate to say it. They're going to be a good team. And where did they go? They lost Jason Kelsey. He retired. He's done. You got to find a replacement. Talking about replacements with the Dolphins, the Eagles got to do the same thing. Jackson Powers Johnson, center out of Oregon. He's the best center on the board from what I heard. I believe that that's an easy pick for the Philadelphia Eagles right there at number 22. At number 23, this would have been the Vikings pick again, but I got this trade going on with the Patriots now. So what do the Patriots do? I think they go D-line because, again, now you got Gerard Mayo as their head coach, and he's thinking defense also. And that was the way they won most of their championships, despite Tom Brady being the GOAT, was when that defense was really cooking for the most part. So if the Patriots do have this pick, then I like them going ahead and taking Jerzon Newton, defensive lineman out of Illinois. We'll see how that goes. All right, now back to reality. But the Cowboys over here, they pick at number 24. What do? Well, they've had some issues on their offensive line, haven't they? Yeah. Look, if you guys know me, you know that I talk about it all the time. The game starts at the offensive line, the defensive line, the line of scrimmage. You need to have that working for you. You want to protect Dak Prescott as long as you're going to have him. Go ahead and get this kid, Graham Barton, out of Duke. Yeah, I know Duke, not known for their football players. I understand. But you know what? This kid has been getting a lot of praise. So Graham Barton, offensive tackle out of Duke. That's the Cowboys at 24. Going to their longtime rival, the Green Bay Packers, at number 25. Jared Verse, defensive end out of FSU. Green Bay's on the come up right now, and they need to get their defense cooking more because their offense is starting to click. Yeah, I know they lost Aaron Jones, but they may find a running back in round 2, 3, 4, whatever it may be, maybe even more. And I think that will happen. Not a lot of running backs are being talked about right now, but there could be a few sneaky ones out there that Green Bay drafts later. But I think right now, at number 25, they go defense with Jared Verse out of FSU. Let's go to number 26. Over here in the state of Florida, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, They need DL, they need OL, they need wide receiver, they need tight end, and they need a center also. They do. I know this is not a sexy pick right here, guys, but Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, okay? Let's take a sip of my coffee over here. Zach Frazier, center. This game and to the team. But that's the guy that touches the ball more than anybody, even more than the quarterback, because sometimes it'll be a direct snap or something silly like that. But the center is the one who's touching the ball all the time. So you may see two of them go in the first round. Zach Frazier out of West Virginia going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, the Cardinals have another pick at 27. What do? Well, they went offense first. So go defense second, in my opinion. And they can go a bunch of different ways. And I don't know if this kid's going to still be on the board, but the way that my mock draft fell out, Kool-Aid McKinstry, the other quarterback out of Alabama, if this kid is still around, you got to take him. I mean, that would be kind of a steal sort of pick. Again, I don't know if he's going to be around. But again, this is my mock draft that I'm doing. So in that case, I do have him there. And I got Kool-Aid going at number 27 to the Arizona Cardinals, bringing us to the Buffalo Bills, who have lost a lot, and they don't look so great right now. And what are they going to do with wide receiver? Not only losing Stephon Diggs, but Gabriel Davis, not as big a deal. He only shows up every 3 or 4 games, but now you got to find somebody else to throw the ball to besides Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, who are tight ends. Wide receiver, Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. That's where you go. That's what I think is going to happen. Whoever they think the best wide receiver on the board is, most likely is going to go. It's a wide receiver rich draft. So they're going to take one in the first round, in my opinion, and maybe even again in the third and the fourth. We'll see how it goes. All right. We're getting down to it, the nitty gritty right now. Getting to my 49ers over here in a few minutes, Kenny. But before we get to that, we go against a team that they did play in the NFC Championship. That would be the Detroit Lions at number 29. Do you say Detroit or Detroit? I would like to know. It's probably a 50-50. What do people from Detroit say? Do they say Detroit or Detroit? It's got you know what? That's an interesting question. I got to know. If somebody does know that, hit me up. All right. What do the Lions do? I like them going defense here. I think that, again, that's the side of the ball they really need to work on. Tyler Nubin, if this kid is still around, he's a safety. He's a ball hawk type of guy, and he can hit from what I understand. He's from Minnesota. Again, not the greatest football school, but they're good enough. They're a good team. He's a good player, really good player from what I heard. So safety position for the Lions, Tyler Nubin, they can really start ramping out their team and, become one of the favorites really in the NFC. Okay, how about the Baltimore Ravens, who were the runner-up in the AFC? What do they do? Well, they got a whole bunch of really good guys also. So you got Lamar Jackson too, right? You got to block for him. You got to have guys because there are other dudes that are getting older. Ronnie Stanley can't do all of it. Get Amarius Mims, offensive tackle out of Georgia. You could put him on the right side, solidify that line a little bit more. I like that fit. I think that's where the Ravens should go. Best offensive lineman that is on the board right there. And I think it might be Mims. Now, Kenny, is where we get to the 49ers. And we can talk about a lot of things. And I'm not going to make it a 49er show over here, obviously. But they pick at 31. And they've lost a lot on the D-line. Eric Armstead, Javon Kinlaw, who really turned out to be as what we thought was going to be. So they like to replenish there a lot. But I think that we have a bigger need than that, Kenny and everybody. I think the 49ers need really lies in the secondary. Javarius Ward is a really good cornerback. Not great, in my opinion, really good. And then you got Hufanga, who he hopefully will come back healthy. But we got to solidify that more because teams pass on us deep. If we're not getting a pass rush with 4 guys the way that we'd like to do it, then, we got to have good secondary play. And we've got burnt quite a few times. I'm tired of seeing it. So how about this kid out of Clemson, Nate Wiggins, cornerback? What do you think of that, guys? Cornerback for the 49ers. Yeah, you can go D-line. Maybe you get a better D-line, another D-lineman in the second round. Maybe they trade up a little bit for another one. But I think you want to try to get the best cornerback on the board. Right now, to me, it's Nate Wiggins. Do I know a whole lot about this guy from Clemson? No, I don't. but I know that he's highly ranked and people like him and he's worked out well. So I think the 49ers go ahead and take a cornerback, and they really should be concentrating on defense right now as they have their offensive players intact. Although we are hearing things about Brandon Ayuk, which I don't want to be hearing, that he wants to get paid like one of the big boys, and he is a big boy, no doubt about it. But man, getting paid the way that like Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson is going to get paid, I don't know if the 49ers can throw that kind of dough at him, especially if they're going to sign Brock Purdy to a long-term deal, which I'm a little iffy about too. I'm not going to lie to you. So, oh man, it's tough. It really is tough. So get a wide receiver. No, I'm going to stick with the cornerback, 49ers cornerback. I think that's what they should do. Which brings us to the team that beat them in the Super Bowl again, all right, for the second time in the past freaking 5 years, driving me nuts. Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, what can you say? Well, we know they're not going to take a quarterback with the 32nd pick overall. You protected quarterback with the 32nd pick overall. Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's a tackle. He can play inside from what I understand. This is the guy you picked, Tyler Guyton, right there for Kansas City. Maybe losing L'Jarius Sneed, you go after a quarterback. I can understand that. But you want to protect the best player in football, maybe the best you've ever seen do it at any position in Patrick Mahomes. So go ahead and get the best offensive lineman available. That's my mock draft, guys. Tell me what you think about your team. I'm interested in it. I want to hear what you have to say. I will be live in the chat board, later on after everything is posted, no doubt about it. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys got to say about your team. If you agree with my pick, whether it's the player or the position, or I want to hear your rebuttal to what you think is even a better idea, because you may know your team better than I do. No, you don't. No, I'm just kidding. I'm screwing around. But I am the sports prophet for a reason. So let's try to keep that going over here, all right? My Super Bowl pick, I'm not giving away yet, but I'm telling you who I do like early. I'll just give it to you a little bit early. I'm liking the Bengals this year. Joe Burrow stays healthy and T. Higgins stays in town. I like Cincinnati. I really do. Oh, I like the Bengals. I think they're the only team that can really compete with Kansas City. I'm not sure Baltimore can. And I know it looks like they got better also with getting Derrick Henry. And that's a huge, huge thing. I mean, Derrick Henry can still just bust you up. He can maul people over. So there's no doubt that Baltimore will be a contender. But until Patrick Mahomes hangs him up, it's Kansas City, man, all the way. I mean, look, the dude still won 2 Super Bowls after Tyreek Hill left. I think unbelievable. So KC, still the favorite. Get a tackle, protect the quarterback. That's what you do. That's my mock draft. That's my number 1 mock draft, 1.0, probably 2.0, all the way to 10.0. I don't know how much I'm going to change it. Again, I can't predict all these trades coming down. I could just tell you what teams need what. The only trade I think will happen is what everybody else thinks, is Minnesota trading up. Where did they trade? To number 3. The Patriots need more assets and need more resources, whatever they can get. So I think Minnesota's that team that moves up and gets the best available quarterback. On my draft board, I have Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2 going to Washington. And at number 3, it's Drake May. So I think Drake May goes under Kevin O'Connell at Minnesota, and let's see what they can do. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Power 32 Podcast. Always happy to have you. Love you. We're out for now. We'll see you later. Peace, everybody.